reality. They never taught you how to win in court. That's I'm not trying to be funny. No, I swear I'm not trying to be funny. They don't know how to win in court. That's why everything is a administrative, just straight from the administrative point of view. Everything is administrative. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna go back in time. I think this was last year. I'm not sure. I think it was last year. Let's go back in time.
For being enrolled in the customer portal. How may I help you today?
Okay, I'm calling because I have a question.
Now here's the thing. It's the part that I'm going to say. This is the part. Everything that I'm talking about now, if I had to take them to court, everything that she may admit will be a part of my argument. Everything that she will admit as true will be a part of my argument. What's up, Darren? Everything that she admit as true will be part of the argument. Supreme Elite Team, we got class and we got class tonight too, y'all. We are going in tonight. Everything. So let's see if we can widen this screen and get to it.
Regarding the actual contract.
Hold on. Let me go back to the beginning. There we go.
For being enrolled in the customer portal. How may I help you today?
Okay, I'm calling because I have a question regarding the actual the contract. I have two questions regarding the contract and the down payment. Now, before I would just like to let you know that I did.
And the down payment, that's all part of the claim. But you gotta play the game to get that contract. Now you can execute while within the game. But the down payment, it's just part of the claim. It ain't even the biggest part of my claim. It's very minute. Because obviously, it's, it wasn't a big factor of me. I'm not gonna sit there and argue them down at the dealership for about the contract. I mean, down payment. I mean, I want hands on the contract. So now when I step into that venue, it's just another nail in the coffin for them. Another award that could be ordered in my favor.
I did talk to the dealership prior to signing the contract, and I talked to the dealership with my inquiries afterwards, and they've told me to reach out to Credit Acceptance because this is why it's good to understand the accounting and how they account for these transactions on their consolidated balance sheets.
Oh, when it comes to the accounting on the actual bank examiner's level, nobody in this space is touching the Supreme Elite Team. Nobody, no teacher. You could bring, if you can bring 5 of your best teachers, and it'll just be me. And I guarantee you, I'll ask them all one question. and I guarantee they won't know the answer to it. And you have to, only people that's going to know the answer to that question is the people that actually are on that side of the fence, or unless you're in the Supreme Elite team.
Because on their consolidated balance sheets, it's going to evidence a loan, not from credit acceptance to the customer or consumer, but that to the dealer. That is important when it comes to actual liability on the account. From them.
So if it's a loan from the finance company to them, why do many people try to keep talking about discharging the contract? Why is discharging the contract so important to people? Listen and listen carefully. Anybody who's teaching, advocating to put a verbiage on the back of the contract or discharge the contract, trust me, y'all, they have no clue to what's really going on. Trust me on this one.
To me, it was a loan from credit acceptance to them, in which part of me purchasing the vehicle, it was they assigned the loan over. Now, that's important because last time I spoke to credit acceptance employees, they told me to reach out to the dealer, you sign the contract, but it's evidence that the contract is generated by credit acceptance. So it's under their approval. So my first thing is the down payment. Now, on a recorded conversation with the dealership told me that the credit acceptance.
Now, although I'm phrasing all this as questions, I know the answer to every question I'm asking. I already know what went down from an accounting standpoint, from a security standpoint, from a trust law standpoint, and I can evidence this in court, and I have case citations where cases similar to mine, the borrower, so-called borrower, one, I got the disclosure, the regular, I got everything down pat. The only thing that I'm calling here is just to see what she's going to say. She could have confirmed or denied it to the cows come home. It wouldn't have knocked me off my square because I already know what's going on. And I'm not talking about knowing what's going on from the time the contract is signed and executed. I'm talking about before I even stepped into the dealership and post-transaction. I every step, I know what's going on.
Would approve the financing, and I will make a down payment in order to seal the deal. I asked the dealership, are you pocketing any of this down payment? And the dealership.
Now, why do you think I asked them that question if I didn't already know that they would? See, it's not enough to take that soundbite and be like, oh, dealer, yeah, you're pocketing it. How are they pocketing it? How are they accounting for the down payments on their balance sheets? See, this is the boring, time-consuming part of the game that most people will avoid. So it's easier to put a verbiage about securities that only apply to securities issued directly from the Treasury, United States Treasury, on the back of your contract and send it in to the indenture trustee. See, that's quicker and faster. It don't take no understanding. You're just following steps. But it's actual getting down and dirty, the X's and O's of it. Most people want to stay away from it because they don't have the patience. They want quick, fast results.
Said, no, it's going to credit acceptance. Now,
before, and I ain't gonna keep stopping it. Be advised that anytime you're pursuing any type of claims in this manner, it could take anywhere from 6 months to 5 years for its resolution. So all this 60 days, maybe a year at the most, it's over when it's over.
Now, I looked on credit acceptance filings with the SEC, And the credit acceptance did this with the dealership because I'm under the portfolio program. And the dealership has already said they don't offer in-house financing. This is why it's always good to already do your thorough research before you call them. So there's no question about the transaction that you're under. You don't need to call and see if they're going to verify what you believe you already know. And this what leads to frustration because we're looking for them to validate things that they don't want to and not.
That is a bar. That is a bar. And believe it or not, many people will take what the teacher said in class and call the financial institution hoping that they're going to validate what the teacher said when they're on the opposite side of they're against you. And most people think that if the bank don't come out and validate what you're saying, then you might not know what you're talking about. That's a fact. I don't know why people think like that, but that's just the mindset of these spaces.
I'm going to. Notice how I told them I was under the portfolio program and there was no denials or words said because
remember, I told her what program I was under. I told her. I didn't guess. I didn't ask her what I was under. I told her.
When you know what transaction that you're under, you can be assertive and keep the conversation going instead of being uncertain and looking for validation from people who have no interest in validating anything that they may potentially be liable for. A down payment from the customer, a cash advance from us meaning credit acceptance, and after the advance balance, net collections and the cash payments made on the consumer loans and costs and our servicing fee. It also revealed that credit acceptance is the servicer for credit acceptance auto loan receivables trust. So just to give you a little backdrop, the money was provided by investors in the trust and it was secured by my monthly payments of principal income.
That right there kills every class talking about discharge the contract. That was the legal transaction from the accounting standpoint. That's the accounting. I'm sorry, let me take that back. That was the substance of the transaction from the accounting standpoint. The actual contract and indebtedness, that's the legal characterization from a contractual agreement. Why would you ever try to take any action to discharge the contract using contract law when they're using contract law to stick you with the debt? Man, oh man. Supreme Elite Team, y'all are in that group for a reason because
you're rocking with the best.
So every time I make a monthly payment on my vehicle, it's not going to credit acceptance to pay down the loan. It's actually going to the investors who purchase trust notes from credit acceptance trust. And that principal interest payments goes to pay down the trust notes. So my question to you.
Damn, hey Dan, bro. They don't even get it. I told you, Darren, what'd I tell you, bro? My shit be the shit that I give away for free is more valuable than 10 of these so-called gurus. 10 of these so-called gurus combined. If they really understood what the hell, they only understand that I really, from a legal accounting standpoint, really just let them know all what they did pursuing the contract was futile. Everything. Broke it down. But you want to know why it went over a lot of people's heads? Because I'm speaking from a highly advanced accounting standpoint. Because I'm not just saying it. Y'all know what the professor said. The professor said, yeah, this seems like highly advanced accounting. Like this is a hot, you don't even learn this at school. This is on the job training. You'll learn this in a manual put out by the, by the FDIC, or like if you're a bank examiner, this will be a part of your training packet. Knowing how to mark these, knowing how to account for these, knowing how to characterize the transaction. Like you don't learn all that in school. You learn that depending on the position you get.
First, how is that the dealership is saying that the down payment went to credit acceptance in the beginning? Then when I called them back, they never admitted that they said the down payment goes to credit acceptance. They forgot they was recorded at the time. And second, that credit acceptance, in their own words, in their own filings with the SEC, it says that the dealership receives the down payment as part of payment for the vehicle. So if I needed to pay $2,700 to amortize the contract, to finalize the deal, and that
don't even know it, amortize the contract. They don't talk like that in a regular space. That's highly advanced accounting back office language. Average person know what that means? They don't know what that means. What does that mean? That's what I'm saying.
It was disclosed to me, and I have a recording of it, that the money's going directly to credit acceptance. But then come to find out, credit acceptance never got that $2,700. The money also went to the dealership as part of the payment for the vehicle. So my question with credit acceptance is, how does that $2,700 end back up with the dealership when it was presented to me that the $2,700 was going to you all to cover the deal?
And how I know that was bullshit, that they was going to keep it the whole time? Because the first, they gave me three numbers. They gave me 5,200 and then 4,800. 5,200. I said, man, fuck no. Then 4,800. I said, nah. Now, you know what? Never mind. Oh, let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do. And he came back like, all right. They said 2,700. You see what I'm saying? If that's what they really wanted, they gonna stay there at the 52. Man, I said fuck, because I already knew, man. Y'all keeping. I mean, in my mind, y'all gonna keep this anyway. I could talk y'all down. And they went back to third time. Like, all right, we could do it for that. Yeah, you ain't about to work. You ain't about to over. Fuck no. I already know what y'all doing anyway. Nah, that shit is totally negotiable. Literally, they throw me three numbers out there. And we settle for the lowest amount. It's all negotiable. But how people get trapped is they don't have the confidence, and they're so scared that they're a little intimidated by these financial people. When you're sitting there at the dealership, they're a little intimidated. I'm not intimidated because I don't walk in there with intimidated. I literally tell them what they're going to do. This is how it goes. So let's try that with someone else. Let's not do that. Not here. You got about 100 people that's going to walk in through this door between now and tomorrow. Y'all going to get every single one of them hook, line, sinker. And they come back playing, all right, we ain't going to do that. But yeah, that's, I'm telling you, man, understanding is more valuable than knowledge.
This is a tactic that every good trial lawyer uses. They ask questions that they already know the answer to, and the person that's being cross-examined or on the stand, they know the answer as well. And you ask the question which you already gave the answer. We already gave the answer to the question. So we asked them just to see if they're going to be honest. And when you put them in a situation like this, they have no choice but to tell the truth. And as you will see, or hear rather, that she has no choice but to tell the truth. Shall we proceed?
So what you stated is correct.
What you said is correct. What you said is correct. When I transfer it over to court motion form, it's a part of my claim. So when their lawyer gets it, what do you think? How you think they're going to respond? What do you think they're going to say? You think they're going to be like, nah, Your Honor, he has it wrong? And a lot of this stuff, when it comes with these claims, it has everything to do with how can I win in court?
You will see, or hear rather, that she has no choice but to tell the truth. Shall we proceed?
So what you stated is correct. So the down payment actually goes to the dealership to help qualify you to get the loan. We don't collect it, the dealership does, but it is a part of your loan. So we don't get the down payment.
I didn't even need her to say that. I already know.
This is why Thomas Legacy Equitable Solutions is valuable, because we ask the right questions and we get the right answers. I did all my research to already know the answer before I even called these people. And that's the problem. You got people just doing what other people say, not really understanding what they're doing, don't know how to communicate, and then they get mad at the results that they get. This is why it's important to put sufficient time in research into this, so you know what you're doing and they know what you're talking about, so they're not going to play these type of games with you. But
now, I didn't have to send them a letter in and them confirming it on paper. I didn't have to see anyone, oh, I'll get you out your down payment, because I have to see no one else's success. When you study and you research and you acquire the understanding, you don't need to see anyone else's result to validate yours, or before you move, you set the tone. You don't follow other success. We want to become the success that others follow.
have people with little experience in these fields giving advice like they're experts, and people are taking what they say on face value. You just heard it, not from me, from her, confirming what I already know. So how do you think this looks when I file the tax forms? When I look at these amounts is already paid as taxes, how do you think it looks? Do you think they can argue that? This is why my group is viable, and these are why the rates are what they are.
And I'm going to raise you on the tax forms. I'm going to raise you. I'm going to see that tax, and I'm going to raise you. You know what I'm going to raise you? I'm going to evidence this in court. Can you win in court? Because the IRS issuing a refund doesn't necessarily mean they agree with your position. I'm just going to be honest with you. Sometimes they just got too backed up and they get you out of their head. They ain't got time. It looks sufficient enough. But I'm going to raise you. Who can actually pull this off in court? I'm going to challenge. I'm going to challenge myself. Can you win in court? Because that's the ultimate test right there. A court order saying you win, that is the ultimate. That's above any IRS refund. That's above anything. Can you actually win in court? That's the highest standard. So I'm going to raise the taxes and head to court. I'm going to raise you one. I'm going to go above and beyond.
You want top-notch quality, you need to. This is why Tom, in this instance, says they don't. That's very important. Now, the actual loan is, I want to refer you that the dealership in this instance says they don't offer in-house financing. So how can the dealership give me a loan when they don't give out loans?
Gotcha. So in-house financing is like, it's the dealership, if you borrow the money from the dealership, or like when the dealership, you do your paperwork, like you're making the monthly payment to them. So because that particular dealership doesn't do their own financing, they reached out to other financial institutions who do. We are one of them that accepted the loan contract.
Okay.
That's why you wouldn't make your monthly payment.
Bam! Got court cases. Got court cases where the courts have saw through that, saw through the form of the transaction and looked at the substance. Saw the form of the transaction and looked through it and found the substance. Man, oh man. Sheesh.
To the dealership, you would make them to us because we provided the loan.
Now, I didn't bust her wide open when she said she provided the loan, but I am going to get her to contradict what she said. 10 minutes, 4 seconds. She said, because we provided the loan. Okay, now watch this.
Now, I don't need to sit there and go back and forth with her at this part saying, no, you didn't make the loan. You didn't make the loan. I'm looking at all the evidence I need. See, most people are hotheads. They get too emotionally involved and they think that they're being lied to and it's insulting their intelligence. You got to remember, this is litigation. You see it this way, they see it that way. You don't get a, well, you're wrong, because I'm looking at it right here. Why are you looking at it? That's what most people do in these spaces who are really uninformed about not just the X's and O's, but how these people operate.
And this is really, and what I said was very true. It's litigation. We see it one way, they see it another. We have to get out this mindset thinking that they're automatically or always supposed to see it our way just because we put it on paper, just because we believe it's true. That doesn't mean they're just going to still see it your way. That's why we have adversary courts to handle cases and controversies.
How they're trained. This lady doesn't know nothing about the 8K, 10K filings. So why am I going to try to educate her on something that wasn't part of her training manual? She goes by how she was trained. She's not going to take my word. And that's what most people do. They get into these bar fights over the phone with them. They get frustrated and then they wonder why they get nowhere when they're on the phone with these people. I get more over the phone with these people than most people get in writing. All right.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
You're rocking with the best.
Facts. Facts. And y'all notice, right? You ever notice? Do y'all notice how you never hear them dropping calls like this? Calling these people. You notice the gurus, they never ever drop calls like this? Because everything that's in this call is the stuff that I went over in my class, what I teach. Why don't they put their, they never drop calls. Why don't they drop calls? They teach it, right? Drop calls. See how it plays out, how it sounds. Give the people a little visual or something they can hear, they can see, okay, so I can see it could go this way. So that's cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. So she wanted me to get off the phone right then and there. And I was like, I got you here. You're going to stick around for a while. Go grab a Snickers. What I have here is coming from Credit Acceptance's own mouths. It states that when they do their accounting on their balance sheet, the back office stuff, it states that on their accounting, on their books, that is going to be reflected. Matter of fact, page 55, it says, for accounting purposes, the transaction described under the portfolio program